Our bridge pose, a wonderful, gentle inversion, a slight back bend, something to use at the end of a class to start to slow things down or to take in a restorative manner, which is why I have the block here once we set it up. So I'm going to put that aside for now and talk about bridge. Let's really break it down. Something, again, that sometimes we rush into and we don't talk much about what we're doing in it and the alignment. Okay, for bridge, I'm going to let myself roll onto my back, and my feet are planted on the mat with my knees up in the air. All right, first thing I want to do with my alignment here is I want to get my feet under my knees. So for those of us with bigger thighs, that usually means we have to walk the feet in. I even find sometimes I'll glue my feet to the mat and start to wiggle my body, even using the edges of my mat down towards my feet. For people who don't have a lot of calf and thigh, sometimes people pull their knees in past the knee, and that's in too far. So people might say walk your feet in, but what they really mean is that we want to get the feet directly under the knees. So best I can gauge here, trying to get my heels, my ankles right into the knees. Okay, wiggling myself down a little bit to try to get that alignment. The feet are hip distance apart, the knees are hip distance apart. We want to make sure that the legs aren't splaying open when we're in this pose. So we're trying to keep everything on one line. And to do that, I'm even going to keep a little internal rotation of the thighs. Sometimes it's nice to take a block, stick it right between those thighs, and by trying to keep that block in place, we're allowing the legs to come together, to internally rotate slightly, and to avoid them falling apart and the block falling out of the legs. So I got my legs where I want them. Before I lift up, I want to work on my pelvis a little bit. This is a nice little trick that I was taught, and I like to use it in my classes as well. So before we lift up, think about inhaling and exaggerating that curve in the lower back. I'm really rolling down onto the base of my pelvis and letting the belly stick up. My pelvis is tilting up. And then as I exhale, I'm going to ground down through my belly. So I'm like drawing my belly button down to the ground. I feel my tailbone lift up just a bit. And I can feel that I've engaged my entire core here as I've exhaled. So I'm going to do that one more time, but this time as I exhale, that's when I'm going to allow myself to press into my feet and lift up through those legs. So I have my feet where I want them. My arms are down by my side, palms facing down. I've got some space between my shoulders and my ears. Mountain pose, upper body, just like most of our poses. Before we lift, I got my feet spread nice and wide. I'm going to inhale and exaggerate that belly curve. And then exhale, ground down, engage the core. Now I have a really strong foundation supporting my lower back as I press into the feet and let my hips peel off the ground. As I come up, I'm keeping a little internal rotation in those thighs. I'm using my entire feet, so pressing into the balls of my feet to keep the quads engaged, but my hamstrings are doing a lot of the work here, so I'm continuing to press into the heels as well. And I'm trying to make sure I don't really clench my glutes. So I want this internal rotation of the thighs. I want to keep some space in my lower back. I'm trying to relax the glutes just a little bit and keep those hamstrings doing the work. Try to get the hips nice and high. And from here, if you'd like to play with it, and I can see my knees want to come wide, I'm keeping them parallel. I can walk my hands underneath my body, walk those arms underneath my shoulders, get a little bit higher in my bridge pose. Once I'm up here, I am keeping my gaze up towards the ceiling. I don't want to be looking side to side, so hopefully you can still hear me okay. And we're breathing here in the bridge. To release, I'm going to first release those hands and then let myself slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time. Walk the feet out just a bit, a little wider. Let the knees windshield wipe side to side. Make sure the lower back feels okay. It really is a calming pose to get those hips up. It's a beautiful inversion. And I'll show you what we can do when we add the block. So we're going to come into bridge. Make sure I get that nice grounding through the lower back. I'm going to inhale to exaggerate the curve of my lower back. Exhale. Ground down, press through the feet. My next inhale peels those hips off the ground. I like to keep my block at the lowest setting, and I'm going to have it lengthwise across my mat. I'm sliding it right into my sacrum, where I can let my body come down, and I feel it supporting my entire weight. If you feel like you're back bending over the block, it's probably too high. If you feel like there's no support on that lower back, it's probably too low. So I want it right underneath my sacrum. And from here, I'm letting my entire body relax. The work I'm still doing is to keep those legs parallel. So I don't want to just let the whole body splay open, keeping those legs nice and parallel to each other. This is a great pose to stay in for a minute or two and really just get all the benefits of this inversion. A lot of work being done on the pelvic floor here as well. So a lot of benefits to this pose. There's a couple variations we can do from here, other than just breathing and enjoying this pose, letting everything relax. Our waterfall pose, if we feel nice and stable, then we can let those feet extend up towards the ceiling. Now this takes some flexibility through the hamstrings. If your hamstrings are tight, it's going to be hard. Maybe you want to add a little bend, or you can add a strap to hold those legs up. But this just takes that inversion up a level, getting those feet above the hips and the hips above the heart. So another beautiful variation. If you are adding the waterfall, then when you come out of it, just make sure you take a moment to get the feet back where you want them, parallel to each other, hip distance apart, feet under the knees. Another version of this is to extend the feet long. This one's difficult for me, and it gets a huge opening on the front of these hips. So making sure everyone feels comfortable in this. The block is still right under my sacrum. You can take a few breaths here, releasing into it. And then again, as I bring the feet back, I'm making sure I have the alignment where I want it. When I'm ready to come out of the bridge, I'm going to engage the core again. And then on an inhale, press into the feet enough to remove the block. As I exhale, slowly roll it down. Move those feet out a bit and let yourself windshield wiper. Give yourself a moment to let the back come to neutral before you take it right into a ball and draw those knees into the chest. So it's okay to enjoy this part of the process coming out of the pose. When you're ready, you can pull those knees in, roll up. That's also a great one to do right before Shavasana, to just start to slow it down and let that blood pressure come down. So there's our bridge pose.